24 hours, I've conducted a series of interviews with civilians who were fleeing as far as Kharkiv, and then would come through the capital and on these trains packed with civilians where there was violence happening all around them as they were trying to leave. So
now, here
I
we
think it
go.
would take
You
a
can hear me.
major diplomatic breakthrough to see some kind of humanitarian corridor actually take place. And look, keep in mind, the language on this was a little bit cagey. It was, we've reached a framework for future discussions on a humanitarian corridor. So while it is being discussed, I don't know how optimistic people are really here on the ground, Josh.
Thank you, Cal.
Like, we might be entering World War III, and you want to come here and fight about PlayStation right now? Fucking seriously? I know it's getting fucking nuts.
Please do stay safe. That's NBC's Cal Perry starting us off tonight from Lviv. Let's go back to the story that we've been following since the top of the hour, this nuclear power plant in Ukraine that has reportedly come under attack. NBC's Phil McCausland joined.
Is it on fire or under fire? Those mean two totally different things.
Just now, and Phil, you've been doing some
either
reporting
or bad,
about the threats to nuclear plants, of which there are 4 in Ukraine. The threats that they faced even before this war broke out, you'd been doing some reporting on what that might look like. Based on the little that we've heard so far, and again, the reporting is still very early, what are kind of your top lines right now based on what this attack would represent?
Yeah, Joshua, like you said, I think it's important to emphasize it's still early and we don't have anything necessarily exactly confirmed yet. But I mean, what the main concerns were that these 4 power plants have 15 operating nuclear reactors. The real concern here is that they would be damaged in the conflict, left unmaintained by the staff. These have to be constantly operated by a dedicated staff, constantly ensuring that there's no meltdown, that there's nothing overwhelms it. Something that we saw, for example, at 3 Mile Island was close to that. It's also important that they're not cut off from the larger power grid, which is needed to cool the reactor.
Jesus Christ, man. Dude, all it takes is one nuke. All it takes is one nuke or one meltdown. You don't think a big power plant like this melting down will cause another country to act aggressively? Of course it would.
As well. That's why they have large-scale diesel generators to maintain those power plants and ensure that they are able to cool those reactors if they needed to do a shutdown. Obviously, all of that is very volatile. Although these reactors, according to Ukraine, are able to withstand something as large as an impact from an aircraft. However, just emphasizing again, what we need to be worried about here is whether or not we can get the crews in there, particularly firefighters, who may be currently under threat. That's one thing that Ukrainian officials have emphasized right now.
That's not me,
they can't get
and that's not the
firefighters
stream. That's them.
in. So that is one thing that we could potentially be afraid of here.
Can you just level set?
We still got COVID going on, too. It's just not being talked about as much because...
For us a little bit in terms of the nature of what this threat might be. I don't want to, I don't want to overblow this, right? This war is already scary enough. And, in a vacuum of information, your imagination can go to some very dark places. But clearly, a catastrophe at a nuclear plant is no small matter. Level set for...
Yeah, could we stop showing the B-roll of that because it's not working?
Based on where this plant is, how big it is, how much power it generates, what's at stake here?
Yeah, I mean, I think last week we were all worried about Chernobyl, right? Chernobyl, however, is in a 1,000 square mile exclusion zone, which means, there's not a lot there. These power plants are closer to cities and towns, some of them large.
Well, there used to be people living around Chernobyl,
and their fuel is much more radioactive.
And it's not even the stream buffering. It's just that feed from wherever.
Chernobyl. So if we're thinking about an incident like Chernobyl, we're looking at something that would be much larger here in this particular area. Again, there's 3 other power plants. This is the largest one, however. So I mean, whatever occurs here is really scary. And speaking.
Oh, the fire is out now. Okay.
To experts, I got the sense that they did not even want to consider necessarily what that would look like exactly. A lot of them had a lot more faith in Russia, particularly considering its history with nuclear power, would be very careful about firing at all close to these power plants. One expert even said, my feeling would be that they would even bring in crews in order to operate them if they were to capture them. What it appears so far, though, again, we are...
is that Putin doesn't give a shit?
Our confirmation is not quite there, is that they're not being as careful as we all had hoped.
Yeah, with regard to that, one of the things that you mentioned in some of your recent reporting is that reportedly Russian forces have held the Ukrainian staff, at least by some accounts, hostage at Chernobyl and forced them to keep working, according to the acting director of that site. NBC's Keir Simmons put a question to Sergei Lavrov, who is Russia's foreign minister, kind of Russia's equivalent of the Secretary of State, about the decision-making calculus that Vladimir Putin is undertaking. Here's Keir's question and the foreign minister's answer. Watch.
Minister, President Putin is described by many in the West as erratic and isolated. Can you reassure people about President Putin's reasoning? Is he taking advice? And when was the last time you were able to advise him?
President Putin, in the past weeks...
Like he's going to tell you the fucking truth anyway.
Has provided detailed comments on our position.
You're right, Joe
That
Max.
is the position of our leadership.
Phil, I know...
Like, is he going to say anything against Vladimir Putin? He'll get a bullet in the head before the day's done.
It's a dangerous game to try to get inside Vladimir Putin's head. But I think, based on at least what the Russians are saying, something like a wanton attack on a nuclear plant would not make sense. That they would presumably
what I think it is,
the amount of danger.
He's fucked over so many people. He's been so balls deep in corruption. It doesn't matter how much money he got from bribes. What do they say? He's possibly worth up to $200 billion. That's an unfathomable amount of money. He's afraid he's going to get clapped as soon as he gets out of office. That's probably why he did this, too. He does not want to go. He doesn't want to go. I know it's not a re-election time anyway, but he doesn't want to get out. And if you're it's funny. I know how much of a motherfucking narcissist he is. I was watching something today where he was doing some kind of speech, and he said a moment of silence for the fallen Russian soldiers. And because I guess he has a gut now, when he sits down, he unbuttons, but as he got up, he buttoned because he didn't want anyone to see his gut. I'm like, you're literally the person that's in charge of World War III, and you're worried about people seeing your stupid fucking gut. This is real, man. You know what I'm saying? Justice for Ukraine, absolutely. Jordy, thank you very much.
That an attack on this facility would represent.
Yeah, you would imagine.
It just shows how much of a fucking self-absorbed narcissist he is.
So, and again, I mean, this was, I think, something that was unthinkable to me reporting on this.
And if you want to go into, Rich, your country has committed war, yes, we have. Absolutely. But this could dismantle all of Europe. We've done plenty. The United States is the police of the world. And you want to go into how much I disagree with the Iraq war? Absolutely. George Bush, in my eyes, is a war criminal. So believe me, I'm not blinded and looking with blinders, but
and to experts who I had spoken to, it's tough to get inside Putin's head for sure.
And dude, him hunting fucking like, first off, I don't care if you look like fucking Henry Cavill, who the fuck hunts shirtless? Like, who is like, man, I feel like Putin's so masculine because I get to see his nipples in the woods. Michael Dobbs, thank you very much. Like, I just don't get it.
I mean, it's unclear whether this would be something that he would have directed, or.
Well, dude, it's more important. What do you mean? I stopped the stream and streamed it. No, thank you for letting me know about it. And it kind of just like now people could just go watch that. They know the announcement. They know what's going on. And there you go. This is effectively Soviet Russia era we're dealing with. Though this time Eastern Bloc countries are eyeing joining NATO. That's what made him freak out. Wasn't it essentially, I'm going real fifth grade with my politics here. He doesn't want NATO that close to his border. There's only one small piece of a NATO allied country that was on his border. Putin's border. And because if Ukraine joins, he doesn't want anything to do with NATO. Dude, it was about Halliburton and getting oil there, too. You ever notice conveniently that 99% of the plucking places we go to have oil to be had? Do you think if Putin drops a nuke, the best response would be to be everything but a nuke, making Putin look terrible for being the only one to drop it? I don't know. Hopefully we don't have to cross that bridge. I'm hoping. Against hope, but I'm hoping.
Whether this is an incidental assault or what exactly occurred here and what is the cause of this fire, we have to be very, very careful, I guess, about how we characterize it. But
it's in the middle of a war zone. We could take a guess.
It is extremely scary. And you mentioned that those staff at Chernobyl. I think that's another thing that we have to be worried about here is this conflict going to make the workers on these nuclear power plants afraid to come to work? If they're going to be held hostage, or if they're going to come under attack like this.
Yeah, seriously.
That, again, it really raises the stakes here and makes this a really scary situation, not just for this power plant, but for the 3 others in the country.
This is why I don't care what charts, what statistics you fucking show me. I don't know what the solution is, and I'll be self-aware enough to realize that I don't like nuclear power. Oh, Rich, there's second to none chance that anything will happen. But yeah, when that second to none chance happens, like a war from a fucking psychotic dictator trying to take over another piece of land happens where the biggest nuclear power plant in Europe, or one of the biggest ones, is right there, it's a big fucking problem. And it's not just a big problem for the country that it's in, it's a big problem for the entire fucking world. Yeah, there's a slim to none chance with all these nuclear power plants and, we have this safeguard, that safeguard, this safeguard. But when something does happen, it's always could be an extinction level event. This is why I don't like it. I don't know what the solution to it is. You know? The oligarchs will have Putin capped, hopefully, before he even gets near the button. If the world ends, they stop making money. Yeah. Well, but see, there's like this balance of where he actually kind of has. Why do you think he's accrued so much money through bribes and stuff like that? Because he's the top fucking dog still. He may be the richest man in the world, and he's that way for not only because he loves opulence with that fucking palace that he built, but he has the money to control everybody. I don't even think the oligarchs may have as much money as, and he's done that by design. So, but I'm hoping you're right. Either he's losing and he knows it and drops a nuke, or he wins and they become North Korea with all the sanctions. I don't see another outcome. Yeah, they'll become another rogue state. That's like the only other thing I could see. I think again, I'm not a political scientist here, but I don't really see where else we could go with this unless God willing, they sit down and negotiate something. But I don't see it.
NBC's Phil McCausland with a little bit more context on nuclear power. Phil, thanks very much.
Thank you.
We will keep an eye on this story again. For those of you who are just looking in, we're keeping an eye on what appears to be some kind of a firefight, some kind of an attack on the nuclear power plant in Zaporizhia in Ukraine. That's in the southern, kind of southeastern corner of the country, near the southern end of the Dnieper River, which is the river that runs through the center of Ukraine, kind of separates it east from west. Ukraine's foreign minister has claimed, at least in a tweet, has expressed his concern that if this plant blows up, it would be in...
Am I even allowed to do this because it's news? I'm not even sure. I think I can because it's news. I would have had something pop up by now.
His words, quote, 10 times larger than Chernobyl, and he is asking for the Russians to cease fire and establish a security zone and allow firefighters through. As we heard from Phil McCausland, that of course is key, not only to prevent fires at the plant. Apparently one of the generators at the plant has already caught fire.
Hassan does? Okay.
But also to take care of the staff.
I mean, it's not like I'm streaming fucking Ellen. Don't worry, that's not happening anytime soon.
That are there. When the Russians attacked Chernobyl, they reportedly held the staff hostage to keep the plant working. And remember, nuclear plants don't just sit on their own.
Yeah.
There's electricity that has to come into the plant to run some of the other components, including the cooling systems that prevent the reactors from melting down.
Yeah, and then they have generators to protect with those cooling systems. But as you could see, like with Fukushima, all the systems could fail in a worst case scenario, like a major fucking tsunami or a giant war. Like Fukushima, I still think is a bigger problem than they're letting on. I still think that to this day. Not like Alex Jones, like, it's irradiated in the whole northern hemisphere. Please go out and buy my iodine pills. Like, not that extreme. And I'm not a scientist. You may want to go talk to, like, Thunderfoot about this. And I know he's made a lot of videos kind of, like, letting everyone chill out. But I still think it's being downplayed to a degree. Not by him, but I'm just saying in general.
So there is a potential cascading array of risks in this attack. But again, we're dealing mostly with external reports and the tweet from the foreign minister. I've been checking Volodymyr Zelensky's Twitter feed. I haven't seen anything from him lately. He's been pretty vocal on Twitter. I don't believe we have any more updates at the moment. And please do bear in mind, this is a war zone. We're doing our best to get you the most accurate information we can and to keep an eye on that web stream if and when it is available. So stick with us. When we learn more information, we'll definitely pass.
And the thing is, with Putin, man, if he's like, who knows, maybe he's was diagnosed with an illness, maybe he's going fucking insane, dementia, whatever. But if he just maybe he owes the wrong people in the Russian mafia money, and they're gunning at him. But this may be like, fuck it, man. If I'm going out, I'm taking literally the entire world with me. The ones that are suffering are innocent people on both sides, right? Yeah, and there's like Russian soldiers. They're like fucking kids, man. They don't want to shoot at the Ukrainians.
Pass it on, and if we have to correct anything.
He's 69, I believe. I thought maybe he just turned. I don't know.
From this report, you'll be the first to know. This is just one of the many attacks on key Ukrainian cities with key infrastructure. And those attacks have been intensifying, including what we're watching tonight. A number of cities are suffering mass casualties.
He wants to cause chaos to keep himself in office. He's afraid to step down. Like I was watching a documentary too. Even if it's not even if he'll get himself protected from any kind of like legal repercussions for the shit that he's been involved in. He's just addicted to the power at this point.
Power outages and more. From our colleagues at Sky News, national correspondent Alex Rossi has more.
As this war gets uglier, Russia's tactics are becoming more violent and destructive. This video from Chernihiv shows a missile strike on a residential apartment block. The blast wave shakes the entire city.
Jesus.
Whilst the building burns, emergency workers...
What threshold the U.S. and NATO will send military intervention? I don't know. I'm sure anything to do with anything nuclear, there would be boots on the ground, unfortunately. Shit like this will push it over the edge.
Rescue dazed civilians.
You can't put up it, but if something like, say, hopefully nothing with like a nuclear power plant or anything nuclear happens, you can't put up a no-fly zone. You can't do it. You can't put up a no-fly zone. You put up a no-fly zone in a Russian plane gets shot down, we are definitely in World War III. I think the Ukraine situation is bringing people together, and especially politicians and like people in the States too. It's very strange.
And the situation in other parts of the country is just as desperate. This is Borodyanka, but as these pictures show, it could just as easily be a suburb in Syria. The damage goes on as far as the eye can see.
What do you want from us? Go away from our land. You don't want to leave now? Sit down with me at the negotiation table. I'm available. Sit with me, but not at 30 meters like you welcome Macron and Scholz and others. I'm your neighbor. You don't need to keep me at 30-meter distance. I don't bite. I'm a normal man. Sit down with me. Let's talk. What are you afraid of?
On the south coast, Mariupol
He doesn't want to talk, man. He wants the USSR back, and he wants to keep NATO at bay.
is now surrounded by Russian forces. There's a constant barrage of artillery smashing into this city on the Sea of Azov. Civilians have been trapped for days, basic essentials running out in many places. The mayor says even those fleeing have come under attack.
They've been shooting at moving vehicles. A humanitarian convoy couldn't even leave the surrounding areas of our town. Today we're in a blockade, and to create tension in the town, they're shooting in the residential areas, targeting civilians, elderly people, children, to create internal panic.
Yeah, I'm sure they're being ordered to do that. Hey, Big Rich Reviews bought a bunch of games today, and I'm spending $5 to tell you like I'm spending money so much. We'll enjoy it, man. Hope you enjoy the game, too. Putin is a boomer who doesn't realize the world can check his propaganda, lies, and reality. He doesn't care. He thinks he could strong-arm his way through everything. And let's keep it real, for the past 20-plus years he has. He's been in power since 2000. He stepped down. He was still running things. He had a puppet president from what, 2008 to 2012?
And tanks are now in control. The man recording these images of the invading force is clearly trapped and very frightened.
I think I should stop recording before someone shoots me on my hand.
The southern port city of Kherson is the first to fall to Vladimir Putin's forces, leaving...
People have warred for a very long time. Admittedly, hate to say it, got to admit, even Alex Jones, give credit where credit's due. He's been warning for a long time that Putin's been a problem. Putin's going to be a problem. He was right.
People fearful about what the violent takeover will mean.
It's like very scary because we hear a lot of explosions, especially at night and early in the morning. And we're trying not to leave because I'm here with my grandmother now.
Like
and
stinks like shit.
We have enough food for a couple weeks.
Ukraine, though.
I do admit it, Beal. I do. I talk about how he knew about Epstein's pedo island, too.
Has no intention of surrender.
I've talked about
Even
that
in places
before.
that have been overcome, Russian soldiers have been jeered and confronted by ordinary people. In this eastern town, which has supposedly been pacified, a Russian soldier carries 2 grenades after a meeting with the mayor to ensure he's not attacked by the crowds. And despite the intensifying brutality, this is a nation that remains united and defiant. Ukrainian MPs gather to send a message to the Kremlin in parliament.
We had to call to vote for the mobilization.
You don't have to be able to take it or not. If you just got to send a nuke over just to fucking end everything.
For taking out Russian assets, for bearing arms, for...
Well, Steven Seagal, like, we all know he's always been a piece of shit. His fucking cheaply made movies he comes out with now, too. I bet you I could probably watch one of those on stream. We should. Outer Zanzibar. I'm going to talk to my network tomorrow, see if we can. Could you imagine how worse this would be if Trump was in office right now? Nukes would be going off already. I don't know. I don't even know how maybe. I wonder what would happen if he was in office. I have no idea, to be quite frank with you.
Collaborationism. And for informational security, like for many others, many things.
They are singing the national anthem, but their words are being heard far beyond the walls of this chamber. Alex Rossi, Sky News, Eastern Ukraine.
Let's continue from Ukraine with one of its political leaders. Lisa Yasko is a member of the Ukrainian parliament. She belongs to the Servant of the People Party. That's President Zelensky's party. Ms. Yasko, welcome to the program.
Good evening.
First of all,
what would happen? I still think he would have invaded, without a doubt.
How are you and
you
your
really
family
want to
doing
know
right now?
We are in quite desperate mood, of course, with knowing that there are no good news every day. And my family are in different parts of Ukraine right now. I managed to evacuate my mom from the center of Kyiv, bringing her
There was a fire at the nuclear power plant.
more to the western border of Ukraine, but my dad is in the center of Kyiv and my grandmother is in the center of Kyiv. They don't really have access
Who is hearing that bullshit?
to food. There are problems with even buying a bread or medicine. So unfortunately, the situation is not good.
Like there's neo-Nazis in the States too. Who's fucking coming to invade us? You know what I'm saying? Give me a break.
How are people getting by, especially in Kyiv? If shops, stores, the shelves, I'm sure, have been bare for quite some time. How are people getting by?
Well, first of all, it's allowed only to walk out only when there is no curfew, and then long queues in
I'm hearing was on fire. They put the fire out. Is it on fire?
in the shops, and still it's not possible to buy sometimes even basic.
Ukrainian fighters are neo-Nazis. Kyle Kalinske saying this? Let's look at it right now. Let's see. Yacht seized. Okay, let's take a gander here.
So there's something that's been floating around social media, which is understandably making people outraged. Let me go ahead and throw that up there for you. So what that says for everybody who's just listening is not the literal Twitter account of the literal Ukrainian National Guard applauding the Azov Battalion, which is a neo-Nazi militia for greasing their bullets with pork fat to shoot Muslim people with. And that indeed is exactly what it is. It is the Ukrainian National Guard proudly posting a video of neo-Nazis greasing the bullets so that when they fight Chechen fighters who are on the side of the Russian government, you know, the idea is, you know, Muslims don't eat pork, and if you grease the bullet in pork fat, the idea is supposed to be like, oh, you'll go right to hell if this shoots somebody who's Muslim. It's a way to be like, you know, flip their own religious beliefs against them and sort of be, you'd think killing somebody is dickish enough, but it's like killing somebody and also I'm going to, in theory, send you to hell as well. So that is disgusting. Now, by the way, don't get it twisted. Chechen fighters are fighting for the Russian government, and the Russian government did invade. But the fact of the matter is, and I've been clear on this from day one, the Ukrainian government has to purge the Azov Battalion from their ranks. And they actually are officially contract soldiers with the National Guard. So, in other words, the Ukrainian government are like, yeah, we welcome you in. And the Azov Battalion, according to their own internal...
No wonder why Putin keeps on saying this.
Numbers. They've admitted this, that like 20 or 30% or 10 to 20% of the unit were neo-Nazis. Now, by the way, I don't even think that number's high enough. The number is probably much higher than that because that's just what they admit, number one. And number two, the insignia that they use, it's like Nazi imagery.
It's because the Chechen
It's Nazi
fighters are...
symbology. And there's been a scandal around the Azov Battalion as well because, I mean, apart from the fact that they're neo-Nazis, because the U.S. actually funded them for a while, and then when it came to light based on some good reporting that, hey, we're sort of arming neo-Nazis and the CIA is training neo-Nazis, we cut off the funding for them. But then a few years later, when nobody was looking, we went back and started funding them again. And so, look, man, we're going to get to more on this later, but this
what the living fuck is going on?
Really has
I know about Blackwater.
Shades of, like, what
they were like private militias. Wasn't it the Bush administration that hired them?
The United States did in Afghanistan when Russia was in Afghanistan waging a war. What did we do? We armed and funded and propped up the Mujahideen and pretended they were freedom fighters. And then, of course,
since when is Kyle Kalinske fake news?
Osama bin Laden came out of that. We got, you got to split up. You got the Taliban, you got Al-Qaeda. But they were funded quite a bit by the U.S., and they were our ally. We were using them in
how are they being sued almost $1 billion fucking dollars, Solid Crusader? That's insane.
Proxy war against Russia. And now you're seeing a similar thing in Ukraine, that we're funding and arming and propping up, and they're officially part of the Ukrainian government, the Azov Battalion. And I don't know, guys. It strikes me that maybe arming neo-Nazis to the teeth is not a good idea. Now, a lot of people are using the Azov Battalion.
I've personally been following Kyle Kalinske for years. Read more here, jacobmag.com. Oh, that's just... okay.
To then sort of imply or outright state, well, then the entire Ukrainian government are neo-Nazis. That makes no sense. It's not true. Zelensky is Jewish.
Of course, look into everything that you see here. I can't look into it right this second, but...
So it's inaccurate to pretend like 100% of the Ukrainian military...
Who has... Alex has flipped on Trump? I don't know, probably because he owes him money.
Or 100%.
You didn't pay me that $4.5 million you promised if I sucked your dick from 2016 to 2020, and I need it. Oh, man. You know what?
Try to relax your anus.
Percent of
Twitter
Ukrainians
DM, yes.
are...
Hold on.
Spread your cheeks and just go to town.
Are far right or are neo-Nazis. That's not accurate. But having said that, for the love of God, you have to axe the Azov Battalion from the National Guard ranks. And, I mean, I obviously don't think they're going to do it. Why? Because right now they're being invaded. Like, Ukraine is being invaded, and so they'll take anybody and everybody. I mean, they banned boys, I think, age 18 to 60 from leaving Ukraine. It's like they're making them fight.
Yeah,
and so they're going to take any help that they could.
If you're an old fuck like me, you better if you're Ukrainian, you're fighting. Also, Rich just saw a post about Artisanville, just that they are getting in trouble for tax evasion and the business is suspended until they pay. Oh my God. Wait. Could you send me an article on that, Armed? How did you know that? How long have they not paid their taxes? I pay fucking Uncle Sam every fucking year, man. I'm going to get blasted this year. I start my taxes this upcoming week. I'm going to cry. Why would you? They always catch you. It may take 10 years. It may take 20, but they're always... And then you could be like an asshole like Anision and fucking, oh yeah, I'm going to write off my house on my wedding.
Possibly get. Members of the American neo-Nazi terror group Atomwaffen Division also joined the Azov Battalion. So you have like some American far-right types who went to go fight alongside the Azov Battalion.
So basically they're just, the Ukrainians like, we'll take anyone we can fight. Let's put the context here before everyone like shit's like, Putin was right. They're like, yo, all right, you're a piece of shit, but can you fire a gun? All right, you're a piece of shit, so we'll still take you. Is what, I don't know the whole backstory. Maybe there is more of a backstory, but right now they have a pulse and they can pull the trigger. They're going to use them.
Reports published by the Office of the United Nations High Commission for Human Rights have connected the Azov Battalion to war crimes such as mass looting, unlawful detention, and torture. An OHCHR report from March 2016 stated the organization had collected detailed information about the conduct of hostilities by Ukrainian armed forces in the Azov regiment in and around Shirikin. That's
I thought he was about to say Hadouken.
Close to Mariupol. From the summer of 2014 to date, mass looting of civilian homes was documented, as well as targeting of civilian areas between September 2014 and February 2015. So, look, don't get it twisted. Keep it real. There are genuine examples of these neo-Nazis being the aggressors in, the Donbass region, which is the region that Putin declared as, these are independent states now, because these are ethnic Russians and, they're under attack from the ethnic Ukrainians. There have been examples for sure of
oh my God,
them being the aggressors. And, the existence of the Azov Battalion, I wouldn't be surprised if that is probably one of the main reasons why about 80% of the civilians who were killed in the fighting in the Donbass region were on the Russian side of the equation. And so, when you talk about these conflicts...
Sorry for 1 second. I know I'm going all over the place, but you sent me that info. I got something else on Artisan. Christopher Yee claims Artisan builds purposely throttled PC performance. Holy fuck. These guys are some shit, huh?
Man, you can't just, shut your mind off and pick a side and then go rah-rah for your side. That doesn't make sense. You have to look at it objectively and fairly and take in all the information, and you make decisions based on principles, and what we're talking about here.
Armed darkly, that's fine, dude. If you can find it, find it. If you can't, actually, you saying that led me to something else interesting, but if you find that too, I'll either combine them together in one video or make two. It's getting fucking crazy with that shit.
There is a giant group of human rights violators and torturers and far-right extremists, and you got to axe them from the Ukrainian National Guard. You have to do it. I mean, think about how far gone they must be in order to promote what they're doing there on Twitter proudly. Like, you're promoting what is flat out like an Islamophobic terror idea here, like let's kill these Muslims and send them to hell, and look at our wonderful neo-Nazi brethren who are defending the homeland. So that is absolutely disgusting. Everybody should condemn this, but also let's be clear, that doesn't, as a lot of people would like to have you believe, which don't believe it because it's idiotic, this doesn't then mean that Putin invading a sovereign nation is now okay because the Azov Battalion exists. No, multiple things can be wrong at once. And as we talked about before, this narrative of Putin is only acting defensively because NATO expanded to his border, and they view that as aggressive from the West. That might be part of it, but in his own words, he gave an hour-long speech where half of the speech was blood and soil stuff. Half of the speech was, hey man, you guys owe us. Ukraine owes us. You used to be ours. You should have never not been ours. My predecessor should have never let you, waltz out of the Soviet Union willy-nilly without paying us back. You're in debt to us. We shared a culture with you. And so now we're going to bring back the correct state of affairs, which is basically you are ours. And so you can't just erase Putin's fascism and imperialism because you have fascists and imperialists on the other side. You can condemn both things. So anyway, there you have it. Azov Battalion, absolutely
No wonder why we're both stuck under 1 million subscribers, because people don't like that. I'm Todd, man. I just want to I'll make my occasional news video of big ass stories, even though of course there's gonna now oh look, tax evasion and other shit with that PC build company. I'm telling you, now that's I'm semi-retiring from doing news. Oh, everything is gonna it's gonna be a tsunami of fucking gaming news. Watch, mark my fucking words.
Disgusting. And I in the same way, I wish nothing positive for the imperialists on the Russian side. I wish nothing positive for the fascists on the Ukrainian side.
Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm.
All right, so let's see. We should watch. I wonder if I could watch BBC Putin. There's an interesting documentary. I might as well just go fucking balls deep. Why do I keep saying that tonight? What's with balls deep? No, where is it? Yeah, did you see this with his mansion? His fucking palace? I'm trying to find it. BBC Putin documentary. They take it down? It was just up by BBC. I think they took it down. BBC had it up. And it is gone. The fuck? We'll see.
Every few weekends, you know, he comes with his daughters to feed the pigeons. It's something they do, and he's not going to stop as long as he can, right? Because if they don't do that, they're going to go crazy, right? Like you have to make time, even in the middle of this very stressful moment in anyone's life. They felt it was important. You know, the pigeons are still there, right? You know, so why not go and feed them and frolic around for a little bit, which they did.
Photographer Alan Chin, I love these still images. I think sometimes, you know, watching this war on television can just kind of create this blur of images that just whips by and almost makes it feel more unbearable than it is. I appreciate being able to have these.
You zoom up the screen. Not that there's anything I'm hiding in my history, but it's fucking YouTube anyway. What would I be watching that I can't show you? But see if I can find it. DSP tries it. Dude, it was around here. This shit is literally kind of surprised what they take it down for. Yeah, that thing is gone. That's Putin's Revenge. That's a different one. Did they change the thumbnail, maybe? No, it's gone. It's absolutely gone. Don't get it. It's like in the first, 10 minutes I started announcing. No. I think they may have taken it down, which I guess did me a favor because motherfucker, man. Shit. See what's
free to share your questions about all that's been going on tonight and with this conflict, and of course your stories about how all this is affecting you and people where you live. We're on the phone at 888-575-2NBC, or just send us an email now tonight at nbcnews.com.
See, this is why I love having this secondary stream channel. I would never have streamed this on my main channel. People would have lost their shit.
Appreciate you making time for us. We are back on Monday night. But until we meet again, I'm Joshua Johnson. For all of us at NBC News, including our correspondents in harm's way tonight, thank you for making time for us. Good night. Hey there, I'm Joshua Johnson. It's good to be with you on this Thursday, March 3rd. And tonight we're talking about the efforts to stop Russia's attack on Ukraine. Today, more Russian oligarchs are facing sanctions from the U.S. We'll get into who they are and why this matters. This comes just hours after Russia captured its first city in Ukraine, Kherson. We'll tell you more about this southern port city and give you a quick Ukrainian geography lesson. Plus, the former Louisville detective involved in the Breonna Taylor raid has been found not guilty. And there are a lot of new developments in the January 6th investigation. You'll also hear what the former Attorney General is saying now about former President Trump.
What are they saying?
The largest single loss of civilian life in this conflict so far. The rescue operation suspended because of ongoing shelling. As the net closes in on many major cities, the defenders of the capital are digging in. Defences are now being set up across the city. Concrete barricades, tank traps, as the city prepares for a Russian assault. We met a defiant President Zelensky today at a secret location in the capital.
For how long can you hang on?
I don't know, he said. I don't know how long. It doesn't depend on time, it depends on us. And when I asked if he'd leave the country, Zelensky was adamant.
No.
But just 30 miles from where we were speaking, the full scale of the horrors being inflicted upon Ukraine. This is what a scorched earth policy looks like, and it doesn't discriminate between soldier and citizen. Hard to imagine that just 1 week ago, this was an ordinary neighborhood, with families going about their lives. The Kremlin seems to be having most success in the south. After taking Kherson, the first major city to fall in this conflict, Russian troops bearing down on Mykolaiv, and the Russian fleet approaching Odessa in what looks like an attempt to seal off Ukraine from the Black Sea coast.
Man, everyone, including me, underestimated Putin, huh?
Amid the sound of war, they're still talking. A second round of urgent negotiations was held today between Ukrainian and Russian officials. Both sides have provisionally agreed to possible temporary ceasefires in some places and to open humanitarian corridors for civilians to leave besieged cities. But the Ukrainian side saying, unfortunately, we didn't get the results we'd hoped for. The largest city under Russian siege right now is Kyiv in the east. It's been mercilessly bombed for days. With the fall of Kherson, Kharkiv and 3 other cities are now encircled by Putin's troops. But outside Kyiv, the miles-long Russian convoy has been stalled for days, a few miles outside the city. A senior US official telling ABC News the convoy seems to be stalled by Ukrainian resistance and supply problems. And as the Russians move up from the south, a siege of this city seems unavoidable.
Shit. I'm watching news in the background. Which news are you watching?
President Putin today claiming the invasion was going strictly according to plan.
Who are you
and that
watching?
all objectives were being met.
Let's see if we can find shit on that. "12 hours ago. Jesus, okay.
Welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. This is a new image that we are getting right now out of this power plant. We do have some video, but we're working on making sure the video is clear and good to use. But right now, this is in Ukraine. This is the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station, which is currently under attack from Russian troops. This is the biggest nuclear power plant in Ukraine. It's one of the biggest in Europe. The plant manager is reporting that the plant has been shelled by Russian forces over the past few hours, and it is currently on fire. According to U.S. officials who are aware of the facility, there are 6 nuclear blocks there. In Chernobyl, there was only 1, and it was much smaller than each of these. Reports are that shelling hit the first energy block. Firefighters are
Some are saying it's still on fire. Some are saying it's not.
having a hard time getting to the fires because the fire crews themselves have also come under attack from the Russian.
This is a bit dangerous. You file that under no shit. All right, so that's good if the fire is out.
shelling. Now, the International Atomic Energy Agency, that is the international body that oversees the world's nuclear power plants. They had warned about fighting around this specific facility. And they said in a statement earlier today that Russian infantry troops were moving toward the power plant, which is a few kilometers from the city called Enerodar. Director General Rafael Mariano Grossi said the situation was, quote, critical, and called on the military forces on the ground to refrain from violence near the site. There is a lot of concern right now about the safety of this nuclear facility tonight. Right now, though, I just want to give you the local time.
This is out of control.
In Kyiv, it is about 3:20 in the morning. And so right now, that is just kind of a screen grab of the power plant itself. Unfortunately, the video we have is a live stream, and it's buffering at the moment. So right now, we do.
Looks like a college with like dorms right there, or a hospital.
Have it back. So if you're just joining us,
haven't they remembered Chernobyl? They don't give a shit.
Here, that is the major.
No one even can. The scary thing is that no one can even guess what Putin's endgame really is. You know what I mean?
Development out of Russia's invasion into Ukraine going on day 9, that the biggest nuclear plant in Ukraine and one of the biggest in Europe is under attack from Russian troops.
So they're just showing a still image right now so that we can't see what shape it's actually in.
Okay, and so right now we do have more video of what is known, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing this name. The Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station is currently under attack by Russian troops. It is undergoing shelling right now, and we are getting this very, very rough, pixelated, buffering
This is like 30
live
minutes
feed,
ago.
this streaming feed outside of the nuclear power plant itself. And so right now, the plant manager, rather, is reporting that the plant has been shelled by Russian forces over the past few hours. And so you can imagine that this is a huge development, nuclear power.
That's still fucking nuts, though.
Power is nothing to mess around with. This is also, not only a danger to Ukraine, but also surrounding countries.
Why did he choose now?
If anything like any nuclear power were to get out, or some of these emissions that get out because of this shelling. And so right now, the International Atomic Energy Agency said in a statement that Russian infantry troops, had been moving towards the plant. And the Director General of the IAEA said the situation was critical, calling on military forces on the ground to refrain from violence near the site.
All right, could we shrink down, or what's going on here? Want a live feed again. Ukraine live. Sometimes they just have where they have like an image. That
And of course, any attack or fire at a nuclear power plant, no matter where it is, raises concerns.
This is live right now.
That radiation levels could spike due to fires, due to malfunctions, and the like. Thankfully, that is not the case. That is not what is happening right now, according to the International Atomic Energy.
Is it any consider that one of the biggest geopolitical disasters of our time, Putin?
Agency. They are confirming that there has been no change reported in radiation levels at the nuclear power plant. That is good news. But the shelling still continues. Of course, this would be a major violation of the IAEA regulations and norms, especially in warfare. And hopefully we'll be getting more reaction from American officials, European officials as well, as they condemn this, as they've been condemning many of the actions Russian forces.
And hey, I'm watching Fox News, so all the people who complain that I put on CNN can shut the fuck up.
Have been making in the last 9 days. There have been reports as well that they are targeting civilian centers, that they're not letting civilians leave some cities. They're targeting hospitals, orphanages, schools, apartment blocks, and the like.
That's so
A lot
disgusting.
of these strikes that they are making are not targeted or precise, but indiscriminate. And so right now, if you're just joining us, we wanted to make sure that we keep this up. This is not live. We lost our live feed. Unfortunately, that's what we do here. We're live, raw, and unfiltered. If you're new to Live Now from Fox, we get a lot of feeds. We get a lot of events from around the country and around the world, and we take them, we keep them up, and we report on what is happening. We bring in experts to talk as well, which we're going to do a little bit later on. We just spoke to...
Yeah, the 2020s are being a real banger, aren't they? I want to go back to 2019.
One, Hal Kempfer, who's been guiding us through this war before it began and during it.
I didn't even realize I was on Fox. I was just like, news. News.
Updates and the like. So we're going to be hearing from him, from my conversation with him just a little bit ago. But we're going to keep this up as we work to get more
Well, the Roaring 20s actually were pretty good. We got out of World War I.
At this point in time, that Russian forces are shelling Europe's largest nuclear power plant.
The fuck
Thankfully,
is that?
Though, from regulators who monitor all of these around the world, it's a UN body, that no higher radiation levels have been detected or out of the ordinary, and that the fire is specifically centralized and located to administrative buildings on the power plant complex, not
What is that?
the nuclear reactor facilities themselves.
That don't look good. Or is that looping? Are they looping something? Or was that a bug? Was I just seeing a bug and thinking it was a, God forbid, a fucking missile? No, that is something just got lit up. What the fuck just happened there? You saw that. It's right there.
Right now, though, I want to take the opportunity to keep this up here as we hopefully get a little bit more video, a little bit more as we've done
live
for the past 9 days. Here's our conversation. The latest. Hal, good to see you. You know, diplomatically speaking, I wanted to get that on everyone's radar. Also, what we are also watching for
something went off there.
At least this was concerning to me today, this call between French leader Macron and Putin. Now, what reports are saying is Putin dialed up Macron first. He requested, and then from reports of what the call essentially said was Putin...
Look at all the car alarms going off,
is
too.
Going full speed ahead. He has no intention of backing down from his directives and from his initiatives, essentially that he's going full bore to capture Ukraine. This call was very concerning. Putin's not letting up anytime soon.
No, he's not. In fact, it looks like they're just going to keep pushing. I think he's pushing beyond the capability of their military forces to really follow his plan. I think he's isolated himself, and this has happened historically with various leaders. Hitler's a very famous example. Certainly prior to World War II, Stalin would be another example where they insulate themselves.
Are they looping a video or are they blowing shit up there?
Where they kind of live in their own bubble. It's a reinforcement of whatever they believe, whatever they say. They have absolute control. And it certainly appears that Putin may have put himself in such a bubble that he's just not quite grasping either what's going on the ground or quite possibly he just puts it into a different interpretation of what's going on the ground. But
because you know how I know too, on top of it you see kind of where it loops. They would be like, yeah, they're fucking throwing shells at that nuclear power plant again. Yeah, we should probably go to that and you could shut up.
The math is real simple. Russia doesn't have sizable enough forces to occupy and control Ukraine. It's too big. It's the size of Texas. There's just no way to do it. Even Kherson, the city that they overran or they took over yesterday, there was some discussion today about what will the Russians maintain in that city. And it was interesting that the Ukrainian military forces
3 minutes
had pulled
ago.
out. Unfortunately, some of the volunteers that had joined up to do.
I can't show you this because Wall Street Journal is a paywall, but I'm watching a video. Actually, no, fuck this. Yes, I can. This is a much clearer video of it. Give me a second. We'll have this keep playing.
Stuff tried to fight off the Russian forces coming into the city, which, as I understand, they're going into the city basically when the mayor went out to greet them. They went out to fight the Russian forces, and they were basically taken out by the Russian forces. They tried to go after them with Molotov cocktails and light arms. But the Ukrainian military had actually pulled back, and I think, you know, with that whole economy of force way that they're sort of thinking, that they know that, okay, we will trade urban terrain for Russian casualties. They'll come in and take the city, but at some point they have to.
Pausing this for a second. Here we go. This is it. There's no sound. Much clearer video. Look. That's some shit, man. Oh, it's a minute long. That's real fucking close, man. Again, too, look. I guess there's more because it keeps going. I'm going to turn the air on. Yeah, it kind of looks like it's floating, doesn't it? Oh, but this is what we were seeing before that they were looping. And there's the fire, I guess. That's fucking crazy. That is some shit, man.
To move those forces forward to go after Odessa. And when there's a lightly armed force left there or no force left there,
yeah, the car alarms from the shakes, the sonic boom.
Back in the city and cut off those lines of communication supporting the forces forward in Odessa. So there's some interesting possibilities in terms of the battle space of what the Ukrainians will do, won't do, and how they're doing it.
Yeah, and of course, Hal, let's get to the brewing confrontation now with Odessa. That's going to be happening. Some type of amphibious assault is in the offing here. And Odessa is on the Black Sea, and it's a huge population center. So far, it hasn't really been touched yet by this war, but do you think it soon will be?
I think it will be. I'm kind of curious as to where the landing beaches will be or how they plan to insert those amphibious forces otherwise. One of the interesting things is you've heard a lot about the Javelin missiles that we've been sending in.
You should go look on...
one of the uses of Javelin missiles...
Let's go look on Twitter, see what's going on. Actually, I don't know if I should. Who's sending me? Oh, Jesus, Destiny, you're nuts. You're absolutely nuts. Anyway, what am I doing here? Let's go look on Twitter. All right, so let's look at the nuclear. Here, we could look at a nuclear power plant here. You should follow me on Twitter, by the way. Yes, I know it contains sensitive material. Plant spokesman says Russian troops have begun shelling Europe's largest nuclear power plant in Ukraine, but that was 2 hours ago, and with war, things change. All right. Biden just spoke with Zelensky about Ukraine nuclear station. That was only 34 minutes ago. 10 hours ago. Is this Ukraine? Ukraine, we need your help. Okay. Al Jazeera. This is why Twitter's like the best and the worst for news simultaneously. Where did that just go? It was Al Jazeera. Here, we'll look at that in a second. Let me just go, Russian troops edge closer. Now they're saying it is true. So hold on. There's so much misinformation. Let me go piss real quick. I'll be right back. You like that Twitter profile pic? So how long ago is this article? 12 situation at your Ukrainian power plant secured 12 seconds ago. Ukrainian authorities have said they safety is there's no way I could say that. Nuclear power plant was now secured and a fire broke out when the station came under fire from Russian forces. The director of the plant's nuclear safety is now guaranteed. According to those responsible for the plant, a training building and a laboratory were affected by the fire. Okay, well, that is good to hear. Let's see what else is going on here. This is pretty crazy to go through this. Again, we got to take everything with a grain of salt. That is a dog peeing on Putin. Is there any more new? All right, so the good news is that the fire is no longer a thing.
I know we trained for this. A lot more foreign fighters going in as well, and that could be significant.
Let me change to this.
And allow firefighters through. As we heard from Phil.
All right. Check on the hashtag Ukraine-Russia war, and also check out the video Africans in Ukraine on YouTube. Okay.
McCausland, that of course is key, not only to prevent fires at the plant. Apparently one of the generators at the plant has already caught fire, but also to take care of the staff that are there. When the Russians attacked Chernobyl, they were
now, is this old?
From melting down. So there is a potential cascading array of risks.
I think this is just a loop, and it's old. I think that's just a loop, and it's old. There's my stream. Trying to see if there's anything. From 2 billion to nothing. I'm pissed I can't find. We should watch Hitler propaganda, man. That's what we should fucking watch. Watch your stream on stream. I did search live. Let me look up some more live news.
Rossi has more.
All right, you again. We've already seen that.
This
about
is very, very significant. Also, we're learning as well. This is the most and the latest news.
Hate
from,
to say it.
Excuse me. Is President Biden has spoken to Ukrainian President Zelensky about this specific.
That's the thing. And look, I have had friends before. You know that they like, look, how can you sustain, you know, the societies we have intact without nuclear power? There's nothing else right now that can do it. I'm like, yeah, I get it, but is having an extinction level event worth the risk? I don't think it is.
Attack. We're working on maybe getting a readout from the White House.
You know what I mean?
But this is just being reported moments ago that President Biden and President Zelensky have been speaking over the phone. We don't know if the phone call is over just yet. We know it is taking place specifically about this attack on this nuclear power station. So we're coming up at the bottom of the hour here. I'm Andrew Kraft. Thank you so much for being with us. We're live, raw, we're unfiltered here. On Live Now from Fox. This is what we do as we continue to cover every...
This ain't live either. All this shit ain't live. That's just looping. What about you?
And the judge asked us to brief him on whether the crime fraud...
With no escort. No one thought he would run.
How do you evade capture for 25 years? How do you do that?
Now, join the search, following the U.S. Marshals as they uncover new leads in a global manhunt. Can you help catch this
Who
fugitive?
was considered the last Russian Tsar? I'm not that familiar with Russia's history.
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man? Listen and join the all-new hunt wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm not even going near the State of the Union address. It's like going into a fucking pit of pythons. Juicy Booch, thank you for the super chat. I really want to watch. I got to see if I could find it again. BBC Putin documentary. I'm going to find this real quick. I'm fucking finding this shit right now. I don't give a shit. I know it exists. Let me see if I can find the exact name of it. BBC Select. I know it's on there.
I'm going to...
What the hell, man? I'm telling you, they took it down. Putin. Let me go Putin. Nope. The last Tsar was Nicholas II. When he was overthrown by the Bolsheviks. Okay. Let me see if I can look one more place. Putin the new czar. Let me see. Putin the new czar. Putin the new czar. I gotta find that. Putin the new czar. They fucking took it down, I'm telling you. Yeah, it's gone. Nope, the only way I could watch it. Motherfucker.
Russia is about to elect a new president.
God damn it. That sucks. I watched it multiple fucking times, too. I guess they must have been like, oh, you want to watch it again? Guess you're buying it. I have not played Elden Ring. So Nicholas II was the last. Yeah, they made it that you got to pay for it. They made it that you got to pay for it. Pull up live view map. What is that? TSP tries it. No money for vacation. What is he talking about? Don't bait me into DSP now. Here we go.
Losing
France.
Our voice,
Here.
and the world was deciding our fate. And what I see
different
now
news
is that
feed.
suddenly we are center stage. You are rightly pointed out that it is
I
Ukrainian
guess it's
people who
gone.
are
And I can't circle. Like, if it was up on BBC stuff, is usually cool.
men who are going to self-organized battalions to guard the cities. And of course, Ukraine has gained agency like unprecedented agency in the world. I think what is important is whenever this is over, and I hope that it will be over very soon, that things don't go back to normal. Ukraine must be part of conversations about whatever is the peace agreement. Ukrainian
Yes, you
civil
can.
society must be part of those conversations. Ukraine must be part of political decisions in Europe. I'm not an expert enough to comment on
God, that fart just keeps fucking going, man. I have not played Elden Ring yet. I do want to. I have it.
whatever way our relationship with Europe would be. We cannot have a backseat
I think
anymore.
they shut down. I wonder if Russia Today is on. Let's see if Russia Today. That's actually an interesting point. Who said that? Gumby Coin. Let's see if Russia Today is still on YouTube. I wonder if they took it down. No, it's still there. I'm kind of. I wonder what they're saying. Are they even covering it? It looks like they have kind of a weird angle, though. Most watch News Network on YouTube and videos they have from like 2 days ago get as many views as I get in like a half an hour. Oh, fuck me, man. Fuck me. Okay. I could do the France
Did
thing.
Europe
It's different.
almost sleepwalk into this crisis?
But listen, Europe was nowhere last few months ago. A few months ago, they were meeting in Europe, in a country which doesn't belong to the European Union.
They want to invade Taiwan, don't they? Don't they hate that Taiwan is...
It's European. There was Joe Biden, there was Vladimir Putin. It is under the push of Emmanuel Macron and under the sense of urgency and of unity that this time the European leaders and institutions displayed, that now the European Union is playing a role. This is why, I mean, I understand all the arguments about European Union 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 1 year ago. But that was a totally different context. And this is why I don't buy the argument Europe should have done more, or Europe wasn't there, because Europe was...
Yeah, I remember them. I remember Cenk being on Russia Today. There was another news anchor. She wasn't there anymore.
Is raising. Many of us
She was pretty hot, too.
have been calling upon Europe to play this role many years ago. We were very few to talk about power for Europe and Europe puissante. We were very few
Yes,
to
I could turn
support
on closed
Emmanuel Macron
captioning.
when he was saying we have to build up a sovereign Europe, which is also a
Can I?
Europe capable
And not available.
of being an actor in the crisis. We, on one side,
Japanese
we must
government,
do everything we can to fully support the Ukrainian
Is that
resistance.
considered an act
And
of
this is
aggression?
why the military assistance, the economic assistance is so important, because it is, they are fighting for us. They are dying for us. They are fighting for our values. And this is why it is clear that Ukraine belongs to Europe. It is clear that the place of Ukrainian people, if they decided...
Someone's tapping on a microphone. Yo, someone's tapping on a mic. Did you hear that? They were like...
of Europe at the heart of the European Union.
Is this thing on? You know, boobs.
In the past, because in the past Europe wasn't there, because they were divided. This is why I recalled you the division in 2015, not because, I fully support the decision that we took today about refugees, which is part of the issue, which is part of the assistance that we have to give to the Ukrainian people. But I recall you this because in 2015, we were in the midst of another geopolitical crisis, coming from Libya, coming from the Horn of Africa, and Europe wasn't there. There were not awareness. And it is on this that we have built.
I heard about that, General Parr.
What we have to do, it is clear that
I
we
heard
must
about
ready
that.
to increase the sanction. Listen, Putin today closed down, he had closed the radio, now today he has closed the only independent TV in Russia. Why? Because he's losing the battle of the public opinion in Russia, because he's trying to brainwashing the Russian people. But the Russians are...
Yeah, I don't think Putin will stop with Ukraine either. And the hashtag has a lot of it. Okay, Elfin, we'll look at that.
One of Putin. So I mean, we have to continue to do on one side, providing strong assistance to the Ukrainian. I don't think that Zelensky is out of the game. I think that Zelensky is fully in the game now. Emmanuel Macron has always talked to Vladimir Putin and to Zelensky. And also the strong symbolic message that we gave from here, from Brussels, from the European Parliament, 2 days ago with the speech of Zelensky. I see that these are all symbols that we are finally aware and ready to play our role. Then what is the most important thing that it was said also today from the Elysee? That, I mean, we are always ready to favor talks. There is always time to cease the fire. There is always time to stop the conflict and come back to the negotiation.
Sandra, I'll stop you there. Sandra, I'll stop you there. Thank you very much indeed, because I think we're getting the point there that obviously Europe's role has changed and Europe's awareness has changed, and I think many people maybe in Ukraine might be asking, they still want some more, and we hear what you're saying. Eve, you had a reflection.
Well, it's also Russia which has changed. I mean, back in 2008, there was an aggression in Georgia, a reaction from Europe and from Nicolas Sarkozy, by the way, at that time, and Putin stopped. And then, of course, he took the control of two to three territories. You know, Ossetia and Abkhazia are still under Russian control, but he did not go to Tbilisi. And after the annexation of Crimea, which was a partial portion of Ukraine.
Yeah, but you don't think he's thought of that, DBZ? He's not a dumb dude. I'm sure he factored a lot of this in.
It's in our direction. Ukraine.
You know what I mean? He obviously knew that heavy sanctions were going to come because of this, unless he's really that out of his mind, which at that point, then it's fucking scary.
We are the next, actually. There is this risk we did not feel when Georgia was under attack. I even don't mention Transnistria, because many Europeans even don't know that there are Russian troops in Moldova for years. We never heard of this. So now we are also fighting for ourselves, as Sandro has said. But let me add just one thing. There's a crucial point there, because when Russia is that aggressive, many Europeans believe that the only reliable partner against Russia is America, which, given the
yeah, he's 70 now, right? When he got in, he was in his 40s when he first got elected as president, right?
Will they commit for us? Yes, normally yes, because there is NATO, the European Union. But what I believe is very crucial now, seen from Europe and...
Yeah, Steve M., there's no way he didn't factor any of this in before going in there. Come on.
Pillar of the Atlantic Alliance to work together with the Americans, because we still need them. We still need them. But what we understood now, and Sandro has...
That woman on the left there looks like she's about to fall asleep.
Do more. And I want to really to pay tribute to what Olaf Scholz has said in the Bundestag last week, because this is an historical address, Olaf Scholz. The move from Olaf Scholz. You know, I've met an Irish minister today in Paris. They were neutral and they accepted to let the European Union finance the sending weapons to. So there are moves, there are shifts, but to combine them positively beyond Ukraine, I would say. I hope it will be enough.
Crap
for Ukraine.
Gamers Toilet Paper, your name still is amazing.
Hope it
Keep that same energy, man. Respro, thank you for the wiener. Have you ever heard of Oleg Gazmanov? No, I have not.
Take our destiny into our own hands.
Indeed, I wonder whether the way that the US pulled out of Afghanistan.
Yeah, he was been planning for this for a long time. I just don't see how he didn't realize that the banks of the world banks were going to cut him off. I'm seriously thinking about going to Ukraine and volunteering. This feels like a crucial war, and dying there might be a price worth paying. Just be careful, man. That's all I can say.
So probably Putin has used this momentum because he was also stronger, because he believed that we were weak. Actually, we are not that weak, and that's the positive things. We are showing that we are not that weak, and the Ukrainians are very, very strong. Again, my admiration to them, and I hope it will be enough.
Indeed. As we say, civilians in many cases standing in front of Russian military hardware and stopping it in the streets. I mean, you've got to have some real courage to do that, and hats off to the Ukrainian people for doing that. Elena, can I come back to you and think about when Crimea was annexed, when Crimea was taken, that land?
God, all these news stations are probably like, unfortunately, it's just how it works, like cha-ching, man. Got CNN in the middle of alarms going off in Ukraine fucking playing Applebee's ads. Like, literally, like, go to Applebee's and get some chicken.
I fell down a fucking hole.
Try to relax your anus.
I love how you can just like mix and match things on that board.
Confrontation from the beginning, and from also this story with annexation of Crimea, was indeed the confrontation between the two blocks, the two historical blocks. And of course now the thing is that now I'm not still sure that Europe is really in the game as much as it should be, because
another person sent me something about them with tax evasion. I can't find anything with it, though. I just found that they screwed up another builder. That's it.
The military buildup against the Ukrainian borders. The aim from Vladimir Putin was to have Joe Biden to consider, and NATO to consider its claims, who are still the same, and he doesn't move from that, is the withdrawal of all the NATO troops from the 13 countries that integrated NATO after 1997, sorry, and the withdrawal of all the missiles that are in Europe, and also the
Who's Johnny and what is he doing in the
NATO,
chat?
And I think now it's still the aim of Vladimir Putin, and he wants to be talking with the Americans, and he wants to be talking with NATO. So in his game, Europe is still not part of the story, not part of the conflict. So whatever Europeans could do, indeed now they are acting, they are uniting with the West, with NATO, with the Americans. But still, I think in Vladimir Putin's vision, this would have absolutely no consequences. He already said that the sanctions, he doesn't fear that. I think he pretty well knew what the sanctions would be, that it would be unprecedented. He didn't expect such a united, strong reaction from the West. I think he would have thought that he could go on with the negotiations after he launched the attack. But now, I think, yes, the Europeans,
What's up, Nelson?
they are doing their best, indeed. We're not talking about military confrontation, but still, I think Vladimir Putin wants to be talking to the United States and wants to be talking to NATO.
Okay, so that's the situation. On the ground in Ukraine, there are people...
Yeah, bullshit. So why is he acting so aggressively then? But we all as well know if World War III does happen, I still think it won't. As the nukes fall, DSP will be on the line for you. There's too much of my chicken sandwich is pulsating. Oh, there's radioactive fallout. They cut off the part that mentions U.S. biolabs. What are you talking about, Death Proof?
To try and ask what you would hope for going forward. I mean, clearly you want peace. Clearly you want some kind of change in Ukraine's status within the world and some kind of resolution as to why this has happened.
Well, I did not expect this question, even though I think about this all the time. I think we, as Ukraine, as Europe, as the world, we...
Seeing reports that Putin might have Parkinson's and has had treatment for cancer, if true, maybe this is his way of going out with a bang. Gee, well, Jesus Christ. That means he definitely has nothing to lose.
Together, where the countries that are most affected, like Ukraine, the country...
So a lot of people left there because of Putin?
The countries of former Soviet Union that are
Russia
also
today?
still suffering from Russia's imperialist claims are part of that conversation as well, where Europe's security includes, you know, Georgia,
I fell down a fucking hit hole.
Includes Central Asia, includes Moldova.
Don't lie. I like how, dude, on a lighter note, I'm telling you, man, if DSP left the internet, we would genuinely all be sad. I'm not even saying that facetiously. Like, him not realizing how much humor he brings so much humor. Like, he could, you know what, he probably, look, obviously, like I said, his business is not successful if according to him, he's living day by day, which... I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know. I'm not going to go dig into the guy's finances and find out. It's none of my business. But obviously he's making enough money to keep the lights on. So I could totally picture him being 70 and fucking saying...
I fell down a fucking hit hole.
Try to relax your anus.
Odds Tommy Tellerico blames Russia on in television. No, I don't think. Well, he'll blame me. He'll blame Pat and Ian. He'll blame all that. He won't blame the fact that the idea was a train wreck and it was poorly mismanaged and piss poor leadership, piss poor social media presence. None of that had to do. It's just the haters. Chief financial officer in a call is talking about haters. What the fuck? All this development just emphasized to me how much of a veneer society is and how it could all be undone in a day. Like, what is money even really? I know I'm getting like stupid pot. Like, money has no real, like, you can't a bar of gold. You can't chew on it if there's famine. You can't match because you have a bar of gold does not mean you could, like, a plant is just going to grow that you could eat. You know, we forget that though, but because of human nature, we've developed this economic system that where people that money has all the worth in the world, and people say money is the root of all evil. It's the human desire and need for money to even exist that's the root of all evil.
Сталин – это мой герой. Я давно ждал что-то подобное. Какой-то памятник, признание его заслуг.
Как ты относишься к Сталину? С интересом. С интересом сказала. Скажи, генералиссимус, да?
Обалдели. Шли, увидели памятник Сталина. С чего бы это? Дед мой в лагерях сгинул.
Yeah, seriously. Like, you really think about it. You got a pandemic, you got a possible world war.
Bloody tyrant who murdered millions of his fellow citizens, or the heroic leader who won a war that cost 20 million Soviet lives. Opinions in Boer, as elsewhere in Russia, are divided.
No, I'm not, dude. I got over that cold. You know what's crazy? I didn't take any coldies. Dude, usually coldies makes my colds. There was one day, like, I just felt like I was getting punched in the fucking head, and that was it. And then the next day I had, you know, snots, and then the next day, like, I blew my nose once and was done. It was the fastest cold ever. I'm sorry you've been sick. Anyway, one of these days I have a video for the stream. It's actually funny, historical animated disaster video. There was someone else who asked for a video here. Who the hell asked for him to see one too? Shit. Who knows if the 2030s will be better?
Ты нет, наверное, не задумывался. Если начнешь думать, то будешь, не знаю, негативно, наверное, скорее всего, думать. А это же история наша. Зачем ее?
Greed, yeah. Human nature's desire to accrue wealth and power.
By rights, they should be put back up into places where they used to stand.
and I've observed that many people in Russia have started putting up statues and busts of Joseph Stalin.
Made redundant by Bohr's glass factory in the early 2000s, Alexei and his mother now run their own business.
We make window panes here. All kinds of windows for homes, vehicles, and industry.
Enough to finance Alexei's great passion.
And the thing is, too, is this is what people do. Vladimir Putin claims Russia fighting neo-Nazis, and look what Kyle Kulinski showed. Now, does it mean that he's trying to eradicate the neo-Nazis, though? No, he's full of shit. But because they are actually a thing, that's how it works, man. You put little snippets of truth in the propaganda, even though the propaganda is bullshit.
And Nadezhda's grandfather died after a spell in prison. But she doesn't blame Stalin.
It wasn't Stalin who came to arrest him, but local officials. Why should Stalin be held responsible? Should Putin be held responsible for what I do, for example, because he's head of state?
Feeding this denialism, there is a national obsession in Russia with all things military. Many in Bohr are delighted at the prospect of a museum celebrating Stalin.
Celebrating Stalin? The guy who killed like 7 million plus people and let them starve? The fucking merciless, horrible dictator? What the fuck is wrong with people? I just don't understand. You got fucking Hitler sympathizers. Are you fucking out of your mind? Are you insane?
Russians' relationship to Stalin is very similar to Germans' relationship to Hitler before the second wave of denazification.
Doesn't he have a much bigger body count than Hitler, as far as I remember?
And in between them, a mass of citizens who know about both positions, but don't know which is the right one. This reflects the ambiguous relationship to Stalin cultivated by the Russian political elite.
Homages to Stalin are, in any case, no longer remotely taboo. And Russia is in the process of closing down...
Well, isn't that what Putin wants back? He wants, like, the USSR back, man. He wants the Soviet Empire to be in full swing again.
Planet is suffering. Climate catastrophe is at our doorstep. Emissions are soaring. Species are disappearing. But a mass movement is underway to make...
It's nice to not watch American news. American news, it just exhausts me.
Politicians, business leaders, and of course, teenagers. And we give them all a voice here on Down to Earth. A major driving force is the good that we could do.
He wants to be a czar over an empire, man. That's what Putin wants. Yeah, we're getting to the endemic stage, which is good. I mean, COVID-19 is still a thing. Don't let the conspiracy, oh, now COVID-19 is no longer... No, well, you know, it's still a thing, but we've been living with it. Yes, it's still a problem. But, you know, being on the brink of a world war is going to, you know, we're going to talk about that. Like, more than one bad thing can happen. Just breaking news. Well, this is wonderful knowing about the weather all across the world. Like, what is going on here? Is this it? Like, this is all we're going to see now for, like, the next, like, 5 hours? It's a weather stream. You know what's actually funny? Me and Intro Guy one time got, back in the day, couple of years ago. We were watching like old early 90s like Weather Channel. 1,000 viewers watching. I'm guessing this is it for a while, is what they're saying. I love how they have the rain sound effect, just in case you didn't know it was raining. Oh, I thought someone was peeing. It's calming, actually. Oh, God. Well, all right, man. I'm actually probably going to call it a night for now. Anyway, because I want to get up tomorrow. My kids are coming here tomorrow, and I got to get up early and do some other stuff. So, all right, guys, it's been a great evening. If you want to find out about the announcements, go to my other stream. They're all fairly important. Pretty big stuff. And expect that Wii U video soon. It's coming soon. And I am hoping this upcoming week, this weekend. But again, my editor has to film a bunch of B-roll with his professional setup and a lot of other things. So it's not going to be, I want it to be 110%. So go kiss a bird, and I'll see you probably tomorrow with videos because there's some pretty big shit already. Like I said, there's big news. I'm going to talk about it. Have a good one.